Morning, it's Sunday, March 15th, and today the topic is the truth that sets us free. Have you ever sat down with somebody and you're talking and all of a sudden they lean forward, pause just a little bit, and then they share a truth. And sometimes it stops the conversation maybe slightly as you consider it, and sometimes you agree and sometimes you don't. If it's true, if the message resonates with us, then we often, return that conspiratorial tone. Sometimes we speak out loud. I'm more of a speaker. I'm not too concerned who overhears me talking. Now I ask, do we exist in a state where we are afraid to name what we see? Are we afraid of retribution? Are we afraid of some type of label? The realization strikes me that, we are the fourth branch of our government. We elect our representatives to enact our will, and yet it seems to me that our will is being somewhat dictated to us lately. And I don't like that. I think that, we have a constitution for a reason. We set it up as guardrails for the representatives that we elect to operate within. It looks to me like the truth is sometimes, not just sometimes, but it's optional. And I don't think that serves anyone, and especially when we start talking about the lives of our sons and daughters. We're spending dollars. It's okay a little, I think. You can waste a few here and there, but when we start wasting trillions and trillions, that might be a little excessive because at some point we're going to have to pay for that. But when we start wasting the lives of our sons and daughters, there had better be a very concrete and justifiable reason. So I want to take a moment and reiterate that our Congress has the responsibility to operate within the bounds of the truth as far as they see it, and to determine that truth, and to check that truth, and to trust but verify. We've talked about this before, but this is a moral obligation. We have to speak the truth to power. If power is not going to speak the truth to us, this it comes down to survival. If we're going to retain our agency, if we're going to retain our right to represent ourselves basically through, another individual, then we need to manifest that right. We need to seize that power back amongst the people and redirect the conversation. Let's face it, we don't need to wait for permission to be free. We're already free. The only thing that we can do is relinquish our agency, and then we have to, fight for it again. And that is something that I don't vision us doing. I say let's exercise our rights now while we have it. Let's elect like-minded individuals to represent us, and to do that, we have the technology now. I think it shouldn't be that difficult to implement the technology to just pick leaders who will listen, who will aggregate our voices and show us what we are thinking, because sometimes we operate in a box today in our digital world. It's kind of hard to get out sometimes and spend the time, at the coffee shop or at the local Republican meeting or their local Democrat meeting or whatever meeting we happen to go to. It's more probable that we're going to get our information online. We're going to trust in our news sources, and with the freedom of speech out there, we need to verify our news sources. As much as we can. We need to trust, but we also need to verify. So let's remember that we don't have to wait for permission to act. We are the fourth branch of government. We can reach out to our representatives right now and let them know how they should be acting, how they should be protecting us, and how they should be protecting our agency. This is something that you and I can do, should be doing. I see it happening. I see that when folks get busy and get to work, there's changes that are made. People can make a difference. You can make a difference. I can make a difference. Let's find that representative. Let's find that senator that is going to make a difference for us. That'll work for us. That'll work on reducing the deficit so we don't have such tremendous inflation facing us. So we don't have high prices and restrictions on what we can do. The billionaires got it made, really. I mean, why are they in control of the government? That's my question, because they don't need any more money. They don't need any more resources. We're willing to work. We're willing to work for money. And evidently they have so much money that it doesn't really matter but it matters to me and it matters to you. So why don't we take back our government and make that government work for you and I? Not for somebody with a pile of cash. Let's make it work for the guy that sits at the bottom, the guy that's wondering how he's going to afford that healthcare visit, how he's going to go to the grocery store and pick up his next bunch of bananas. You know, does he need to pay an extra 10% or 15% on everything he picks up? Does gas need to be skyrocketing because of some decision that may be ill thought out? We don't know, but our Congress should know, and our representatives should be finding out. And that is the issue that I want to address today. We have the right to know, and the truth will out. And, you know, we were taught a long, long time ago that there is a truth and there is a way. And there was a man that showed us that way. So perhaps we should try to go back and consider that there is a higher power out there looking down and looking out for us. So I want you to reach out today. Reach out to your neighbors, share your truth, join our campaign if you can, volunteer at ScoGuard2026.org. I look forward to hearing from you, and thank you for listening today.